All right, let's dive in. Today, we're stepping onto an invisible battlefield that is literally all around us, the world of cybersecurity. It's this constant clash of digital weapons and armor, fought by unseen experts and criminals. And the prize they're all fighting for? Well, it's your data. So, why is this such a big deal now? I mean, why should you care? Because in our super connected world, the lines between our physical and digital lives have pretty much vanished. This isn't some distant corporate problem anymore. It's deeply personal. The security of our entire modern life really depends on it. The territory being fought over in this digital war is data. And we're not talking about just any data. We are talking about your data. I mean, think about it. Your medical records, your career history, all your financial details. When this information gets compromised, what's really at stake is your entire identity. Okay, so to really get a handle on this battlefield, we need a plan of attack. First, we're going to look at the opposing forces. Then, we'll break down the anatomy of an attack. After that, we'll cover the core principles of defense. And finally, we'll even explore how you can join the ranks of the defenders. So in any conflict, right, you've got opposing sides. In cybersecurity, it's this relentless cat-and-mouse game between those who hunt for weaknesses to exploit and the professionals who work around the clock to defend our digital world. It really just boils down to two key players. You've got the cybercriminals, the attackers, and the cybersecurity specialists, our defenders. And the stakes couldn't be higher. You see, a defender has to be successful every single time. An attacker, they only need to get it right once. But here's the thing, not all hackers are created equal. We usually categorize them by the color of the hat they wear. You've got white hats, who are the good guys, ethical hackers who find security flaws so they can be fixed. Then there are black hats, those are the criminals, driven by money or just plain malice. And somewhere in the middle, you have gray hats, who operate in this moral gray area, sometimes exposing a flaw for the public good, other times for their own benefit. And the landscape of attackers is actually way more diverse than you might think. It ranges from these so-called script kiddies, amateurs using pre-made tools just to cause a bit of chaos, all the way up to highly sophisticated government-funded teams conducting international espionage. So a threat can come from a bored teenager in their basement or a dedicated foreign intelligence agency. So how in the world do we defend against all of that? Well, the answer is collaboration. No single person or company can do this alone. The defense of cyberspace truly relies on coordinated action and, this is the most important part, sharing intelligence about new threats as they pop up. To stay ahead of the game, defenders have a pretty powerful arsenal. They use public databases to track every known vulnerability, early warning systems to spot attacks as they happen, and intelligence-sharing partnerships like InfraGard, which connects the FBI with private companies to get the word out about new threats. It's all about building a unified, informed defense. Okay, so we know the players. Now let's dig into their tactics. What are the actual weapons being used on this digital battlefield? One of the primary weapons is malware, which is short for malicious software. It's really just a catch-all term for any software that's designed to do harm. You can think of it like a digital saboteur, sneaking behind enemy lines to cause all sorts of damage. Now, under that big malware umbrella, we've got some pretty famous culprits. A virus needs a host program and a person to click on something to activate it. You might remember the I love you virus from back in 2000 that spread like wildfire through email. A worm, on the other hand, is much more independent. It can spread across a network all by itself. And then you've got the Trojan horse, which, just like in the old myth, tricks you into letting it in by disguising itself as something you actually want. But hey, not all attacks are purely technical. Some of the most effective ones are the ones that exploit our own human psychology. And phishing is the absolute prime example. It's basically a digital con game. An attacker pretends to be someone you trust, sending you an email that looks like it's from your bank with some urgent message like, "Your account is suspended, click here now." They're trying to scare you into handing over your login info. And this scam has a whole family. Vishing is just phishing over a voice call. SMishing is when they do it through a text message. And whaling? Well, that's a highly targeted attack, aimed at the big fish, like a CEO. The tactics are always similar. Create a sense of urgency, use a generic greeting like "Dear User," and pressure you to click a link or open an attachment without thinking. The key is to always just pause and verify. Okay, so we've seen the weapons. Now, let's look at the armor. How do cybersecurity specialists actually build their defenses? Well, they start with three fundamental principles. It's all built on something called the CIA triad. And no, not that CIA. This one stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These three pillars form the absolute bedrock of pretty much every security decision. So first up is confidentiality. This is all about keeping secrets. It's the simple principle of making sure only authorized people can see the data. The easiest way to think about it is just privacy. That's the whole goal behind tools like encryption. Next up is integrity. This just means making sure the data is accurate and that it hasn't been messed with. You have to be able to trust that the information you're looking at is the information that's supposed to be there. Think of it as guaranteeing data quality. And finally, we have availability. This one's super simple. The data and the systems we rely on have to be up and running when we need them. The goal is just to keep everything working smoothly for anyone who's supposed to have access and to prevent things like system failures or denial of service attacks. So we've seen the battlefield, the weapons, and the armor. The next question is, how do we go from being a potential target to being an active defender? For some people, that means a career in this field, where the need for skilled professionals has never, ever been greater. You know, the demand is so incredibly high that governments are getting involved. Organizations like NIST in the US have created entire frameworks just to define the roles and skills that are needed, which creates a really clear roadmap for the workforce. For anyone who's thinking about this as a career, there's a really clear path forward. It all starts with studying the fundamentals in a field that demands constant learning. From there, you can go after industry certifications to prove what you know and join professional organizations to network with the best in the business. And that really brings us to our final thought. As our lives become more and more digital, every single one of us has a role to play. So the question I want to leave you with is this. On this digital battlefield, are you going to be a potential target or are you going to be a future defender?